Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Huck Central presented by Southern Wesleyan University. We're here for the fourth and final round taking place on Sunday afternoon at the Locomotive Course at the Grand Central Station Disc Golf Facility. Myself and Hannah McBeth again joining me. Thank you for jumping in and helping out here, Hannah.
You're welcome. We're back on hole number 1, par 3, 290 feet. Nothing has changed too much. There was a couple more wind gusts to be dealt with in this final round, but nothing the guys can't handle.
Yeah, and this is one hole that they've seen all four rounds. Again, the Freight line and the Locomotive line, two slightly different courses. They share about 12 or so of the similar holes, and then there's about 6 that are different. And here's MJ going with a putter off the tee.
Yeah, this is a nice adjustment from rounds past because MJ was trailing off to the left, and he might have been pin high, but now he has that nice downhill putt that he can try to make.
And here's Paul with a Luna. And all four rounds, left side, just about pin high, just the epitome of consistency when it comes to hole 1.
Yeah, I think the fact that it is downhill sort of carries his disc left. That's usually what happens when you're headed towards a pin that's downhill, gravity and such. It's a good shot from Chris as well. No one really getting up to the basket on their drives. Everyone's sort of wanting to see that ground play.
Yeah, and then the new guy to the card, this is Evan Smith. We saw an Evan Scott earlier in the week, and now we've got Evan Smith. And he's going to have the CTP.
Yeah, just slightly downhill. Didn't adjust for the angle. He'll have just a bit of a tester comebacker, but nothing too bad. And he avoids the OB right behind the basket as well.
You see Chris a few steps inside circle 1.
It's a great way to start the round.
Picking up the birdie. He's going to momentarily move into a tie, a 3-way tie. So needless to say, after 54 holes, we certainly have a battle here on our hands.
Oh, MJ, you hate to see it, especially after his putting performance last round.
Paul from just outside 20 feet sneaks it over the edge, and he's going to be your new outright leader.
Evan Smith for his first birdie of the day.
And a great start. Not sure if he's nervous or not, but you'd have to think that plays into it just a little bit, knowing you're playing with 3 of the best players in the world. And they're going to take the walk to the left. If you're playing the Freight line layout, you would actually turn right after that hole. But instead, we go left, and we find ourselves at hole 2.
Yeah, par 4, 580 feet. You all have seen this one before. It's the one where they like to lay the forehand up to the mouth, then work your way down that narrow fairway up until the green. Or if you're Paul McBeth, you just get crazy and you try to go over everything.
Well, I have seen in the previous 3 rounds, he has not successfully made it to the opening. So I think he just said, you know what? I'm going for broke here, and I'm going to go with an entirely different approach. He finds himself on the short right side in the woods.
No 2-meter at this event. Chris changing up his game plan as well. He's going with the backhand, leaving it a little left, but he'll have a good angle from there.
And a third different approach here by our third competitor, Evan, and that is short and right. And unfortunately, that's essentially the worst possible place to be.
Yeah, you don't want to be in there. It's low ceiling, really thick, and nothing that you can do to scramble well out of there.
Yeah, we've even seen a few layups from that right side. And here's MJ.
Even with a good roll.
Yeah, we'll see how close he is to the tunnel, the opening of the tunnel, but that looks like a really good shot for him as our Players are heading down again, and it's Sunday, Mother's Day. Gorgeous day out here in central South Carolina.
And it does look really breezy to have the wind be affecting these players' discs as much as we've seen already. And I mean, look at these wall of trees, and it's still finding its way through.
So playing down this corridor, Chris is probably close to 300 feet from the pin. And hits a tree on the left side. At least I believe it kicks him into the fairway, though.
Yeah, that's a fine second shot. He'll be able to see the pin from there. And a par is a good score on this hole.
That's the third shot by Evan.
Wow, he got all the way down to the green.
Yeah, it looks like he snuck through, and he's going to find himself just about at pin high. Oh, and MJ was hoping for a tree hit. It actually went all the way past the basket. He's about 50 feet deep.
Paul again having to go over everything, eventually finding his way into the fairway. He'll be able to see the basket from there too. He ran this yesterday. He was much closer, still in a scramble position, so looks like he's going to give it a go today.
There you go. It was just a little bit deep. So
Yeah, just a layup there.
Chris also just thinking layup at this point.
If I had to follow someone, I think I would want to follow Chris and do the same things that he did on this hole to get par. I don't think I'd want to follow Paul over all the trees and then over all the trees again.
Yeah, Chris really playing it. Of course, he came up short on his second shot, but overall, if you're looking to get a par here, Chris played it pretty much as textbook as you could ask for. I feel like there was maybe just a frustration out of Paul after 3 consecutive rounds of not being able to find the gap. He said, well, I'm just going to put everything into it, and wherever it lands, and I'll just have to deal with it from there. And with that, we're going to move over to hole number 3. If you need any of your discs to ship, reach out to me. I make boxes specifically for shipping your most valuable Frisbees around the country.
Definitely a birdieable hole here. Hole 3, par 3, 235 feet. Just want to hit the top of that fairway with something stable and let it fade in. Looks like Paul has one of his 4 time zones. Or a Luna. That actually looks like his Luna.
Looks like he should have had a different disc.
Yeah, he's just holding it too tight to that left side. And unfortunately, we saw that yesterday or in the previous round with Randon. Randon got hung up in there, and then Paul just squeaked by, and he didn't correct today.
And this hole coincidentally plays as the single easiest hole on the course. Chris Dickerson showing you why, as it averaged 2.36. So this is what you would certainly deem a must-get birdie.
Oh, no. Yeah, he's bringing that right side in a little bit too much for me. He walked up on the tee pad right to left, and I got nervous. I thought he was maybe going to do something fancy.
Well, I like fancy park jobs. And MJ... Okay.
Yeah, great shots.
Paul on the right side, not quite in position to even give this a run. And if you do, just because it's on a sloped hillside, you have to think a little bit about, what could happen if it draws metal or finds an edge. Solid bid.
He'll be able to get par from there, but not the score that you want, especially given the fight at the top.
Yeah, he will maintain that 29 under. Meanwhile, I'm expecting everyone else to clean up here for birdie.
And with that, Chris takes top positioning alongside Paul. I don't know why I don't remember my words tonight.
Words. words. Hole number 4. What are they trying to do here?
Par 3, 260 feet, and just gently sloping downhill. And the green is very quick. So they're normally trying to throw a forehand just straight, let it slowly fade towards the basket. Chris puts his on a bit of an anti-angle to slow it down. So when it comes in, it's not coming in as hot. But he hasn't been able to execute it yet. This looks good. It just needed to get past that one tree and it would have been perfect. Yeah, they're just grabbing something with a really thin edge, like a putter or mid-range, and just throwing that straight forehand.
Yeah, kind of letting gravity do the work, and it's just a matter of how much ground play do you get. And guys, if you're ever playing trivia, as we're watching MJ come in, that looks like it'll work. But if you're ever playing trivia and someone says, I've never seen MJ throw a forehand, well, right here, we've got a couple rounds of it. You can always just point them to the coverage here at the Huck Central.
Yeah, and this is the play that Paul had me do, and I think he ended up liking it more. After just seeing his card mate struggle with the forehand, you just throw a putter or a mid-range nice and straight. And again, as it hits the hill, it sort of anti-skips or fades right with gravity and with the descent in the hill instead of just continuing straight.
Well, and
you're also in the circle. If you can get all the way straight down the beginning parts of the fairway, then you see that orange flag, you're in the circle.
Well, and I feel like specifically as we're watching Chris from deep in circle 2, I think back to just like hole number 2 where Paul's changed up his game plan. I've seen him now throw 3 forehands, none of which have been successful. He's been just a little tight or a little wide. And so for this 4th and final round, he said he's going to go with the backhand. And
wow, huge putt from MJ. Great putt from MJ. That was awesome.
MJ, just like that, pulls himself to one of the 29 under pars.
Paul with a downhill putt. Notice he keeps his weight on his front leg. I don't know why he does that, because he told me not to do that. He told me to keep his weight on his back leg.
Sometimes I think he just makes stuff up.
Whatever you're comfortable with in the moment, I guess.
Really surprised to see hole 4 as not one of the easier holes on this overall layout. Average 2.82, and I would expect a lot more birdies than what we're given here at only 260 feet. I'm a little over anxious maybe. All right, they've got a very short walk heading over to hole number 5. Shortest hole on the course.
Yeah, at 180 feet, it's just a little pitch. Sometimes people do what we've seen from Paul twice now is twice now is the jump putt. But MJ just hanging one out, letting it come back in. Great trust. Yesterday, Paul saying that he yanked it over to the right. His putter had to fade back. Able to make that correction today.
We'll see a standstill here from Dickerson. Just a little half pullback.
Oh, wow. Oh, no.
Oh, and of course, he hits the biggest rock. If that rock was the same size as just about every other rock on there, I feel like it would have went over the top. And he hits the rock, and he's going to move to the drop zone from there. At best, he'll be able to salvage a bogey, or a par, correction. That's coming in a little hot.
Oh, no. That was looking good, too. I was just about to say that's exactly what you want, but he just put a little bit too much on it.
Yeah, very deceiving as that one was heading right over the island. So any shot that doesn't land on this island goes to the drop zone, which is what we're seeing here from Chris. So both players will have a chance to save their par.
Unfortunate for Chris, but still, he's right there in contention. He just needs to not freak out, stay patient.
Yeah, he is looking at potentially losing 2 strokes on this hole, and he's already down 1 to Paul. This is Evan to save par.
2 good bids from those guys.
Paul will move to 31 under. And while he does that, I want a huge shout out to Todd and Brian, both who have done so much to put on this event. I know Brian also has been working with the city and helping design, put this course together, of course, provide some of the landscaping and the work that's done out here to give us this beautiful track to play on. So doing a ton of extra work out there, and this is my first time being here. I just can't say enough. The entire town of Central and the Upstate Disc Golf Club making a beautiful island hole. I love it.
Hole number 6, par 3, 250 feet. Again, a hole we've seen before, but a different tee location. A lot of these holes are birdie muskets, but they have a lot of, I don't know, like guardian trees, I guess is the most popular term that people use. You really just want to hang one out, just like MJ does. Something understable on a hyzer. Let it continue to push forward as it fades out. Or you can go with this route. That's a force, and it's very overstable. The ideal would be to hit the green and have it skip towards the basket. Fortunately, Paul just connects with a tree there. See if Chris can get the angle right. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's the
I would say
right
that
angle.
is well done, yes.
Forehand a little bit higher than Chris's line, but also tags a tree. Wow, I think that hit 3 different trees before it finally came to rest. But the good thing on a hole this short, he still has a look at a long birdie attempt. Paul just the same. This is about 55, maybe 60 feet. And he knew it right out of his hand. That was not the angle of release. And as Evan moves into position, just a quick little bio on Evan out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Rated 1,011. Off the top.
Have it too high.
In the 100,000s, he is 101,574. So I know the rest of the gentlemen here, household names, as MJ cans another no-look birdie. You would think...
Yeah, he ties himself up with Paul after that.
You would think he would love watching those go in. I know it's a little bit of a flex, like, I don't even need to watch that. Birdies are boring. But instead, he looks down as opposed to just watching every single birdie putt go into the basket. It's an incredible flex by that MJ. Don't get mad just because he tied up Paul with that putt.
No, I just think it's like, how many times has he been there before and made all those putts? Like, he's just that good.
He certainly is. And you love the confidence.
A circle 2 putt? Circle's edge putt?
No big deal.
Yawn.
The battle continues. Big shout out to Double G Beef Jerky.
Hole 7, par 3, 355 feet. This one, all that on the left that you can see coming into play, that whole river is OB, and now everything on the right is OB. The fairway to the right of MJ right now, or all the rough that I should say to the right of MJ right now, is super rough. You don't want to end up in there, and you don't want to end up in there either. You really want to get out a little bit straighter than MJ's shot and then have it skip towards the basket. The theme here at these courses is really just understanding ground play.
Chris looking to put a little bit of an Anheuser line on this. The manhole cover that you see right there, had that just been able to hook up and got a little of the ground play that you speak of, I feel like that would have been right next to the pin.
I think Paul went with a Luna last time, and now this looks like a mid-range from him.
You can buy all sorts of discs there with down south discs. Got to get that shout out in there. This is a buzz. And
and he just knows right out of his hand. He's thrown it out B. He's changing up his game plan a lot, and I don't hate it, but that's, if you haven't practiced or you're not familiar, taking your time, whatever it might be, can come back to get you. That's twice now he's gone off the tee from this position. I mean, he's gone OB from off this tee.
Yeah, really struggling here on Sunday with the tee shot of hole number 7. And honestly, a shot that I would think would be right in his wheelhouse. Now, I like the play here. He actually brought himself off of the OB line to give himself a better angle. And he is just deep. That'll leave him about 20 feet, but he had gone out of bounds. And anytime you go out of bounds, you can actually bring it back on the line of play. And that's exactly what he did, or I should say in line with the basket. And so he, instead of just taking the 1 meter you would typically see, he brought himself at least probably 3 or 4 meters. Really good heads-up play there. And this is Evan, after also going out of bounds, trying to save his par. Hannah, if I would have told you that we'd see such struggles on hole 7, I think you would have very much disagreed with me prior to watching this, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like that hard of a hole to break down. And they definitely have the distance.
And even Chris, who's closest to the pin, still has a long putt. So he'll have to settle for a par, and in this rare instance, a par will actually still gain him strokes on the rest of the card mates. This is Paul for bogey. Wow, and just such a tight battle. He goes down to 30. Dickerson's at 29. The bogey for MJ will bring him down to 30. So we still have a two-way tie. And Chris just one off the pace. I think the only question is, did these guys run into Rascal again in the afternoon? This is the Rascal location.
Only time will tell.
Well,
Hole 8, par 5, 740 feet. First shot, get your disc somewhere through that gap up here. Gosh, these flybys are really quick. Basically from there, it's a big wooded fairway. And if you can keep yourself within that fairway and just give yourself good placement shot after good placement shot, you can probably get it up into the circle or circle 2, ideally for birdie. If not, a par is a great score. I believe the only competitor to have a putt for birdie so far was MJ. Everyone else sort of just played it out for par, and MJ ended up missing his circle 2 birdie putt. So
see if there's an adjustment that can be made during this afternoon round. And speaking of the flyovers, Dustin had told me that he hasn't necessarily done it a lot before, but he was able to do it for this event. So Dustin, we appreciate the effort so that everybody could see the different configurations out here.
And I have to wonder if that photographer is distracting because he's right there on the edge of the tee pad, and Evan hasn't been competing on the lead card up until now. So that's not something he's necessarily had to deal with. The cameramen are pretty good at hiding, but the photographers are they're a different animal. It's a good placement shot from Chris. Not necessarily looking to bite off distance here, just really want to make it around the corner. And again, get yourself in a good position. MJ hugging that right side of the fairway a little bit too closely for my liking.
Paul has some uphill footing to deal with. And still on the right side of the fairway. And just prime position here, really, for Evan.
Yeah, that's a great shot. Now Chris can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but again, it's just all about keeping your shot under control. That seems to be pretty aggressive from Chris. Wow. That was such a good shot.
Yeah, pushing.
That tunnel is so long, and he thread the needle.
And I really didn't think about it or realize that there's OB deep of the basket, and Chris not finding it, but at least pointing it out to us on camera that OB is way long.
MJ looking to follow suit, just comes up a bit short. There is a slight elevation carry or elevation change, and it carries up this whole fairway. So that is something that these competitors have to contend with as well.
May see a forehand here by MJ.
Great scramble.
Sliding just inside the circle. And I was just going to talk about the wind, and I guess that flag will do all the talking for me. It doesn't seem to be much of it going on at the moment.
No. That's a good thing here, especially when they make it into the putting green. They're probably hoping and praying for the same.
Yeah, we'll see if those conditions stay nice and light. Chris from way deep just doesn't connect. And I'm thinking, after seeing that Chris has had now 3 or 4 putts that have drawn metal and just not gone in. And obviously he's normally such a solid putter. Mm-hmm. And there mostly have been from circle 2. So it's not like he's having a terrible day and giving up easy ones. But you typically see him connect with more of those. Here's Paul.
Ooh, right to left wind there. He's able to connect for his birdie.
Sure, a ton of the photos and other great graphic designs that we see out there. The photographer is Paul from T-Box, so make sure you follow him out on Instagram. Some of the best graphic design work that I think we've seen in disc golf in the last few years. Just incredible stuff that he's been doing out there. In fact, I think I heard Paul say at one point, Paul McBeth say, "Hey, thanks. What you're doing is you're really making a lot of Instagram accounts look good for our top players because he's been doing so much good work." So hole 9.
Yeah, coming out of that long par 5 and into this short par 3, hole 9 is a 200-footer. A lot of putter shots on this. And you know what's interesting to me is on the last really short par 3, we saw some standstills, not a lot of body movement. But now here Paul is, and it looks like he's going to give this almost a full walk up. I know a lot of the time he does it just because it's what he's practiced and what he's used to. I mean, he does the walk up all the time, probably every day of his life. But it's crazy to me that they wouldn't do it on the other hole.
Well, and
I want to know why.
Yeah, that is a good question. And I don't know if it's just that distance is, the downhill distance is so much more extreme on the other short hole. You see Chris going with a standstill. What I think is interesting about the way Paul had just played this, and we saw it in round 3, is he essentially throws the disc right into the ground. He's playing the skip all the way down the tunnel, and I can appreciate that idea. I just feel like intentionally bringing the ground play too early, I could see how you hit one pine cone and next thing you know, it's off.
Takes
its
all
mark.
the rotations off your disc.
And an
Wow.
very alternative
Or you can
route.
just do that.
Yeah.
Local route.
I like it. I think both Dustin and Dylan, a different Dustin, but Dustin and Dylan for out there hustling around with the cameras.
Oh, he finally connects with one. Great putt for Chris. But again, yeah, just not very many chains in use there.
Oh, solid putt. So my question that I need, or my answer that I need for you to leave for us as we're watching them close out with a star frame is, how many birdies have you racked up in a row? 2, 4, 12, whatever the number is. I'd love to hear it. Put it in the comments. That makes you eligible to win something, probably a Disc Golf Guy stamped disc. And Hannah, we're going to head into the final 9 holes. Hope you join us, but first let's take a quick look at where things stand overall. Pretty incredible that we're seeing such a tight battle overall with these guys, and looking forward to the back 9. We'll see you guys all there. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
See ya.
I'm the Disc Golf Guy, and that was my video blog. I'm joined by one of our premier sponsors here this weekend, and a guy that's busier than me maybe even, Ish Ulmer. Ish, give us a little insight. You run down south disc. Give us a little insight.
Most of the time I'm doing tournament director stuff. I am part of I'll be a tournament director at 26 sanctioned events in the Southeast, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. I work with several of the clubs in and around South Carolina, vend for their amateur payouts at their events, teaching at schools, doing lessons here privately here during the week, running putting league on Wednesday nights, doubles leagues on Thursday nights, wide open pretty much 7 days a week disc golf.
Yeah, well, wide open. It sounds like your schedule's not, but you're completely busy, which is awesome. Of course, thank you so much for supporting all this weekend's coverage. Hope everybody's enjoying that. But what got you into this lifestyle? I mean, you're 100% committed, as we just said.
Yep.
How does someone get that courageous? Because everyone says, I'd love a job in disc golf. Well, you have one.
Yep.
One you created, though.
Absolutely.
How did that come about?
About 12, 13 years ago, I started playing in and around South Carolina, and I noticed Chuckster from Spikeheiser. He ran several different series around North Carolina and South Carolina. I liked the way that his model went. He, kind of went mobily around the Southeast running tournaments. We'll fast forward to 2013. I vended probably 4 or 5 events that year. Got a job for about 4 or 5 years that prevented me from working on weekends. So fast forward to 2019, I went all in. Invested in the business as a mobile retail disc golf business to vend the tournaments. Started tournament directing. COVID hit. Surprisingly, disc golf boomed last year. My business went through the roof. Went from 2019, I tournament directed 6 tournaments. 2020 I did 16, and then this year I'll do 26. So hopefully things continue on that path.
Well, it's incredible to see the growth. Of course, disc golf continues to grow, and you're a large part of that now for sure, and helping shape and mold our future disc golfers and our future superstars, of which we're even seeing this weekend. Where can they find more information if they either want to play in an event or buy some merchandise from you? What do they need to do?
Most all my stuff is on my Facebook Down South Disc Facebook page. It's at Down South Disc LLC on Facebook. You can reach me there. I always got my cell phone on me, email, doesn't matter. I'm pretty hip with the new forms of communication, so you can pretty much catch me on Instagram or Facebook, either one.
All right, well, this is Ish, again, a big supporter. Check out Down South Disc for the Disc Golf Guy and Ish. We'll see you guys down south playing disc golf somewhere around here. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Have a
Appreciate
good day.
it.